by different names. But all in all, the complete ladder is called yoga and may be divided into three parts, namely Gnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. The beginning of the ladder is called Yoga Rurukshu, stage, and the highest rung is called Yoga Rudha. Concerning the Eightfold Yogism, attempts in the beginning to enter into meditation through regular principles of life and practice of different sitting postures, which are more or less bodily exercises, are considered fruitive material activities. All such activities lead to achieving perfect mental equilibrium to control the senses. When one is accomplished in the practice of meditation, he ceases all disturbing mental activities. A Krishna conscious person, however, is situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation because he always thinks of Krishna. And being constantly engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utafpada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakan Vatamsha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामिनिति नामने निज गुरु हरिवाण्या कृष्ण चित्तो विचिंतो परिहित पितृगेहाद्यंद संसार कूपः प्रभु भजन सुखाब्दो मज्जयन सोमस विश्व भुज जयति विकासो भक्तिपूर्वो यतीन्द्रः नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे. Abhi, can you give me a Bhagavad Gita? I can look at. Okay, so this verse is specifically speaking about the different processes of yoga, and it also shows one. It helps one understand how an advanced yogi and a person who is just starting on the process of yoga, what are the different activities that they perform. So it's a very straightforward thing that the beginning of all yoga processes, the whole reason a person does Ashtanga yoga and different bodily exercises. We see so many people are out there, they're stretching their bodies, they're performing all these yoga activities. But most of the time, most of the people, although they may think that doing yoga is spiritual, it's simply for the sake of bodily exercise. How many people who are actually performing yoga, the yoga gymnastics, are actually performing yoga for the sake of stilling the mind or calming the mind? You don't still the mind, but in order to calm the mind and focus and meditate upon a particular object. In the real sense of the term, yoga means the process of linking. Therefore, when a person does yoga, they do yoga in order to meditate upon the supreme object of worship, who is Krishna. But these days, this yoga, the yoga system or the yoga that's actually followed simply binds one more and more into the bodily concept of life. Many people perform yoga, and the whole end and mean of the yoga is to have a lifestyle which is relatively, for some people, most of the people who perform yoga, they want to have a lifestyle which is relatively more healthy than other forms of lifestyle which are present. And because people perform this kind of yoga and they want to perform these exercises to have a fit body, they do not go beyond the body. They do not go beyond thinking that what's beyond the body. They do not go beyond thinking what's beyond the mind. And because of this, because they do not focus upon the real goal of life, they're stuck into the conception of thinking that the whole purpose of life is to keep this body as comfortable as possible until death. But no one in this world has ever been successful in keeping the body completely comfortable until death. I guess, some people may be healthy all the way until they die, but most of the people, when they grow old, there's just different phases of life. As you get older and older and older, so many different parts of the body stop to function, right? Unfortunately, that's the case. We may have fantastic. When I was born, I was not born with glasses. I'd like to think I was, but I wasn't. I was not born with glasses. I didn't need glasses. But then, as time went on, my eyes, I mean, I'm 28 and I'm not acting like an old man or something, but the eyes, they started to, not function as well as they need to function. Therefore, I got glasses. You know, I'm sure there'll be a point of time where I have this strand of hair over here. It's coming from here, then it may go all the way down to here, and that's the only place where hair may be growing on my head. You know, it is quite possible for things like this to happen. Why? Because the body stops to function. The body stops to act properly. You may be able to see very nicely when you're born, but later, as time goes on, you may not be able to see nicely. As the body grows, the body may become strong, and all these things may be there. But then, as time goes on, the strength of the body goes away. The capabilities of the senses, they go away. They become lesser and lesser and lesser. And because of this, what happens is that the living entity's desire to permanently remain in this world, actually, or to remain in a permanent situation, is frustrated at every moment. The thing is, we are all trying to find an eternal we are all trying to find an eternal situation in a temporary place. And because we're all trying to find an eternal situation in a temporary place, we will actually naturally be frustrated. But the whole purpose of yoga is meant to calm a person's mind down and help them understand that actually the goal of life isn't to just keep this body fit. The goal of life isn't just to eat enough and to have a roof on top of our head. No. The goal of life is to actually break away from this cycle of repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. No matter who we are, no matter where we're coming from, no matter what our background is, everyone is subjected to birth, death, old age, and disease. No matter anyone's situation, everyone has to go through this. And because people have to go through this, then a person who's sober will actually start to inquire why these things have to happen. Why do we have to go through birth? Why do we have to go through death? Why do we have to go through old age? Why do we have to go through disease? Why do we have to do this? Does anyone like to go through diseases? Anyone likes? Anyone likes to, like, okay, there'll come a point of time where none of your bodily limbs will work. Anyone looks forward to it? Anyone looks forward to a time where you're going to be carried to the bathroom? If you're fortunate? No. No one looks forward to this. Why? But is it inevitable? Do we really believe it? Do we act like it? Why not? Why? Because we are not sober enough. We're not sober enough. So the whole purpose of yoga is to make us sober enough to understand, okay, wow, this life is very short. We have to learn to transcend. We have to learn to rise above these material elements. We actually need to learn to break free from our material conditionings. And because we do not break free from a material conditioning, we are actually stuck in the same system. We're stuck in the same way of simply eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. But Prabhupada in this purport, he's speaking about the different kinds of yoga. So in Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. So in Jnana Yoga, a person starts to understand and starts to differentiate matter from spirit. You see, like they understand this, that there's a differentiation between what is material, the difference between what is spiritual. And an intelligent person is able to break apart these two things very clearly. Okay, what is material and what is spiritual? And the minute a person understands that there's a difference between what is material and what is spiritual, they start to focus upon what is spiritual. Therefore, the Vedanta Sutra starts off by saying, Atato Brahma Jigyasa, which means now it's time to inquire into the nature of the absolute truth. You see? And then when a person performs all these activities, then they start to meditate. They start to meditate upon the transcendental form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Or they start to at least meditate upon the spirit soul, understanding the qualities of the spirit soul. Because when we start to meditate upon something, we take upon the qualities of that particular thing. A person we can say that the society, whatever they think about the most, they like to imitate and get the qualities of the object that they're meditating upon. Many people, if they're attached to watching sports, most of the people may have a pair of Jordans. How many people you know have a pair of Jordans? Do How many of us have Jordans? I don't have. I don't. I'm sorry. I just have. I don't know what I have, but it's just one. I really don't. Asics. Yes, I have any. Anyway, so we have that. Why do we have it? Does it really like help us in our help us walk better? How many of you dunk here? Whoever raised your hand who have Jordans? That is no, no. How many of you dunk? No one dunks really. No one. Do you dunk, JT? No. Yeah. Okay. You look. That's what I thought. Okay. You have the swag for it, but you don't dunk. Okay. But no, barely anyone dunks. I mean, right? But why? Why do we need to have this? Why? Because we're influenced by that, by what we're meditating upon so much, right? We're influenced by this. Yes. Wow. Great. Amazing. And we also see that the advertisement industry completely exploits this ability in a person's mind. That yes, you don't just see like like an ordinary Joe advertising for like a really expensive company. You don't just see like an ordinary guy. Like let's just say if I were to go and advertise for Nike shoes, would you go and buy it? Oh yeah, this monk, he's advertising Nike shoes. Would you buy it? No. You'll buy it if someone important advertises it. Someone who's famous advertises it, right? Like let's just say, like a person who has no sense of music advertises a Fender guitar or some guitar. Like, would they use a person who's tone deaf to advertise this guitar? No, they'll use like a rock star. Even this guy is using this guitar, therefore you should also get it. And everyone's like, yeah, I want to be like this guy. Why? Because we naturally meditate upon these people. We think, oh, this person is great, therefore what they have to offer is valuable. Simple, very easy to understand. you know so we see this also, that the entire advertising society focuses on these kinds of people. Oh yeah, yes, let's have this person advertise or that person advertise. Because why? Because of the influence that this person carries. Because of the influence that this person carries. And some of the people, they meditate upon this person so much that they may even have a poster of this person that they would look at. They would look at this poster like every morning when they wake up, before they go to sleep, they look at this poster and they try to bring upon the qualities of this person. So meditation is nothing new. The living entity is always meditating on something or the other. But the problem is that nowadays, meditation on something which is completely temporary is promoted so much. It's promoted so much that we are bound more and more into illusion. But in different cultures, meditation upon eternal objects is always encouraged. Meditate on that which is eternal. Because if you meditate upon that which is eternal, we will base our life on such thing. All of what we do will revolve around these things. If we don't do this, then what will happen is we will go about our entire life chasing something which does not have any substance to it. We will go around chasing things which have no substance to it. Like, you know, um, if many people, someone was telling me there was like this interview of this really rich person where they said, I went and I tried to chase life and I tried to grab happiness, but his experience, he says, is that he went, it's like grabbing a whole, like a palm full of sand. What happens when you grab a palm full of sand? It just slips through. It slips through. So many people, they grab, they go ahead and they grab life. They go and they think, wow, this is actually what's going to make me happy. But eventually, it does not make them happy. They end up being more miserable than they were happy before. For example, we know a very famous person. He was a very, very famous person on social media and this, that. He had, wherever he went, people would recognize them. Like their YouTube videos would have millions of views and this and that and this and that. But then this person tried to commit suicide so many times. Why? Because it's not what it seems like. It's not what it's not, the promises that are made, the advertisements that are made that, yes, if you do this, you will be so happy. The promises, the advertisement, the whole fame and everything which goes along with it is not always what it seems like. Why? Because there is no happiness that comes from trying to satisfy the senses. And this people may understand. Now, if I were to tell you that, hey, listen, if you like to eat a lot, right? If you like to eat something very nicely, let's just say someone likes to eat pizza. And so we give them one slice of pizza, they'll eat it. But if you make them to eat 10 slices of pizza or like 10 pizzas at the same time, then they cannot do it. You like to listen to a music, that's fantastic, but how many times can you listen to the same song over and over again before it stops? May like to see something nice, but how long until you get bored of seeing what you like? So this is easy to understand. But what is not easy to understand is, yes, there is no happiness in satisfying the senses, but what is not easy to understand is the simple point that a person will also not be happy if they try to satisfy their ego. There's no satisfaction limit of a person's ego. There's never a point of time where a person will think, "Oh wow, this is it. This is great. Yeah, I don't want anyone to glorify me anymore." They want this satisfaction of the ego, the satisfaction of the mind. There is no ending point to this, right? So we can see why is this person who is so famous on social media and this, that, and the other thing, why wasn't he satisfied? Because he wanted more, he wanted more, he wanted more, he wanted more. There was no end to greed whatsoever. There was no end to his greed. Oh yeah, now I'm here. Okay, now I'm famous on you. Now I want to be famous in Hollywood. And now when I'm famous in Hollywood, I want to be famous in every entertainment industry where they speak every possible language. I want to be famous there. Where does it end? Where does this end? It doesn't end anywhere. Where it ends is frustration. Why? Because this fire of lust, this fire of greed burns the heart of a living entity. And it burns and it burns and it burns and it burns. And no matter how much we try to satisfy it with matter, what happens is it's like we're pouring fuel on a fire. What happens when you pour fuel on a fire? It begins, oh, the fire is so big, let me throw some fuel. What's going to happen? Bigger, right? It increases more and more and more. It increases. Why? Because that's the nature of material desire also. We see that lust is like an eternally burning fire. And unless the only way lust is quelled is when we take shelter of genuine spiritual objects. Dushpurena lulenacha. There is this lust, otherwise it constantly keeps it rages. The lust rages, the greed rages. This is like Nitya Vairinam. This is the eternal enemy of the living entity is lust, is seated within all our senses. Is seated. And the more we try to focus upon material objects, the more we try to focus on that which is temporary, the more we will actually suffer. And we have enough examples to find this. Enough examples. So many examples are there. You may have it all, but you're still miserable. Why? Why is this? It's really surprising. Like the first time you hear that someone who has everything they could desire, they have everything they could desire on their fingertips, but they're still miserable. And they die and they commit suicide. This boggles the mind, right? This boggles the mind. Your person may think, why did this happen to them? Why? But there should be a good reality check, shouldn't it? It should be a good reality check. But we are so used to just trying to satisfy our senses that we actually become desensitized. We become desensitized to all these things. We become desensitized to the opportunity to actually make spiritual advancement. We become completely desensitized to it. That if our mind is not prepared, you see the whole purpose of yoga is to prepare your mind, prepare your mind to break from the cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. The whole purpose of yoga is to do that. But if the mind is not prepared, you may be seeing different things. You may see this great person committed suicide. This person did, this person is miserable. This, that, and the other thing. Oh, so many people. They're so miserable. So some people have the karma to have a lot of money, but they do not have the karma to even maintain one good relation. Not even one good relation. How miserable is that? Imagine you have all the money in the world, but you can't have one good friend or a family. How miserable is that? That is so miserable. You can't even have someone to share a meal with. You may hire someone, but it's all fake, that they're doing this for the money and not for you. How miserable is that? So no matter how much we try to adjust this material nature, I'll do it like this, I'll just do it like this, I'll just make a small adjustment here, I'll just make a small adjustment there. The nature of this material world is to always put us in this kind of conditioning. And there's no going around it. There's no working around it. You may think, I'll do it like this. No, I'll do it like this. But there's no working around it. There's no working around it. But the problem is that because we are meditating on objects that are temporary, we will suffer in this material world. It's simple. It's very, and why? Because even the person who is advertising whatever they're advertising, let's just say Is there like any fast food restaurant where like they use a big celebrity to like to advertise for their product? Huh? Okay, yeah. Who like give me an example? Uh, okay, so I don't know who this person is. I know. Thank you. I know I'm doing good in Krishna consciousness. I have no idea who this person is. But is this person? So every time he's happy, if he went and ate a Popeye's burger, will his misery go away? No. So even the person who's advertising that is not really happy. Even that person is not really happy, right? But oh no, yes, we have to do this. But because the mind, you see, you may have the eyes to see. You may have the eyes to see. Yes, we have the eyes to see, and yes, you see this, you see that, you see this, you see that. But because we are so blinded by meditating upon objects which are temporary, which are material, even though the things may be in front of us, even though our mind may be looking, even though our eyes are looking at all these things, because our mind is blind to the possibility, our eyes will miss the opportunity to actually capitalize on what's actually useful. We are missing out on something which is so valuable. We're missing out on something which is so valuable. You know what this most valuable thing is? There's so many things around us. You may think, oh, this is so valuable. You know what the most valuable thing is? The greatest boon that we all have right here, right now in this room, is we have this human form of life. There's this really amazing verse in the Bhagavatam. It says, Labdva Sudurlabham idam bahusam bhavante, manusham artadam anityam apihadira, turnam yatetana patet anumrityu yavan nishreyasaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat. And you see this here. After many, many births and deaths, one achieves the rare human form of life, which, although temporary, offers one the opportunity to attain the highest perfection. See, it offers one the opportunity to attain the high. Thus, a sober human being should quickly endeavor for the ultimate perfection of life, as long as his body, which is always subject to death, has not fallen down and died. After all, sense gratification is available in the most abominable species of life, whereas Krishna consciousness is possible only for a human being. This is the greatest boon that we have. This boon of having a human form of life. This boon of having a human form of life is not cheap. It's not a cheap thing. It's the real thing. There's nothing more valuable than having a human form of life. Because in this life, you literally have every tool that you need to break from the cycle of birth and death. You see, no matter how old we are, no matter how young we are, even a person at the point of death, even a person at the point of death where everything they look around them is completely crumbling, even a person at the point of death can completely take to Krishna consciousness and perfect their life in this life. They don't have to wait. They don't have to do this. They don't have to do that. So many people may think, oh, this is important, or that is important, or that is important, or this is important. But what is really important? What is really important? The thing which is actually important is how rare this human form of life is. And you see, there's only thing, there's only one thing in this life which we know will happen for sure. There's so many things people say, I'll be there tomorrow for sure. I'll be there tomorrow for sure. So many times people give books, especially if we are in working an event. So many times, we're distributing books, and they'll say, "Oh, you know what? It's the beginning of the event." They say, "I'll come right back. I'll circle right back and come and get the book. I'll do it for sure." How many times have we heard it? So many times. I'll be right back, bro. I'll be right back. You're gonna be here tomorrow. I'll meet you at 5 o'clock. How many times, especially in Atlanta? So many times. Sometimes when you walk into like Edgewood, there's a guy like selling turtles or like puppies or something. Like, why are you hustling puppies in like the middle of the parking lot? But anyway, like, I'll be right back, bro. And like you never see the guy again. Oh, for sure I'll be there, for sure. But no such thing. Most of them don't come back. When someone actually comes back, I'm like, wow, this is a real guy. This is a real one. This is the real homie, right? It's a real guy. He showed up. I got respect for this guy, man. I got respect for you. It's like sometimes they come back and like, oh no, I didn't come back for you, and they just like blow you off. But sometimes when they actually come back and actually buy the books, I'm like, that's like these guys are for real. But most of the time they're not. So many things are sure. I'll do it for sure. But there's only one thing which is absolutely sure in our life. One thing in everyone's life. That thing is death. As sure as death. Someone says, As sure as death, that means that's for sure. That's 100%. 100%, 100%. Everyone, as sure as death. So this human form of life, we have it, but it's a very rare thing. We could die at any point of time. Anyone can die. No matter no old, doesn't matter how old you are, no matter how young you are, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. If a person is chasing after this illusion of trying to enjoy this material world, and they're stuck in this bodily concept of life thinking, I'll do it when I'm old. Like when you're too, like for example, one person I remember, I was talking to a person's family, and they were like, yeah, we completely understand that Krishna consciousness is the most important thing. So then there was the father, the grandfather, and the son. I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Then why don't you take to Krishna consciousness? I asked the grandfather. And the grandfather was like, oh, no, I'm too old to take to Krishna consciousness. And then I asked the grandson, why don't you take to Krishna consciousness? Oh, no, I'm too young to take to Krishna consciousness. And I asked the father, why don't you take to Krishna consciousness? Oh, no, I'm too busy to take care of the old one and the young one and the young one to take to Krishna. So no one can ever take if we can always make million excuses. Oh, yeah, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too busy, I'm too lazy. There's so much. Everyone can give so many excuses. So many excuses are there. But an intelligent person must be convinced of the rarity of this human form of life. If a person does not take the opportunity to utilize this human form of life properly, they are going to suffer in this material world. Already is there, suffering is going on. Is anyone of the opinion that actually this world is a nice place? There's a little suffering here and there, but other than that, the world is a pretty good place. It's all about how you perceive it. It's all about how you perceive it. No matter how you perceive it, when the body starts functioning, it is miserable. No matter how we perceive it, when death comes, it's miserable. No matter how we perceive it, this disease is miserable. This is miserable, no matter how we perceive it. No matter what we do, our senses have a limitation. That's the truth. No one can deny it. You see, so an intelligent person values this human form of life more than anything in this world. And they use everything possible, just like a plane. What is a plane supposed to do? A plane is supposed to fly us from one place to another. So it's like the human form of life is like, let's just say you were having a race, and then there's a guy who's like going to run, and a guy on a bicycle, then a guy on a horse, a guy having like a Ferrari, a guy having this and that, and then a person having like the fastest jet rocket or whatever the fastest automobile is. And that is his human form of life. We can win the race of material existence using this human form of life, provided we utilize it properly. If we do not utilize this human form of life by chanting the names of Krishna, by like understanding this process of Krishna consciousness very seriously, then we are simply uselessly wasting our life chasing after something which is available for the hogs and dogs also. For the hogs and dogs. What is sense gratification available for the hogs and dogs that eat stool? Everyone has this opportunity to go and waste their human form of life. But self-realization, Krishna consciousness, is possible only for a human being. Therefore, how rare is this opportunity? How rare is it? How rare is this opportunity for us to actually take advantage of this? So rare. So rare, How many animals can think? Animals, all they think about is, where's my next meal? When am I going to mate again? When am I going to sleep? And they're happy. And they defend themselves also. And that's their thing. If that's all we care about, we are no better than the animals. So real human form of life begins from this point of trying to understand, wow, this human form of life is so valuable. So valuable. Therefore, a person is not crazy. The person in this material world, there's this other verse in the Bhagavatam, Nunam Pramata Kurute Vikarma Yet Indriya Priti Aprinoti Nasadu Manye. Do you know the verse number for this one? Should be here. There you go. Nasadu Manye Yata Atmanoyam Asan Api Kleshada Asha Dehaha. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification, by which perpetually he gets material bodies one after another. You see, that a sober person, an intelligent person, will not waste their time like this. What is the use? What is the use? We're here, everything is there. We have everything that can completely transform our life right here in front of us. We should take advantage. We should take the opportunity very seriously. If someone were to tell you, "Hey, my dear friend, you just come here for the next 3 Sundays, and then you'll get $1 billion," like, this room will be packed. Everyone will want $1 billion. Everyone will want it. But there's something more valuable than that. Something more valuable than that. And yes, the main thing which is binding us in illusion is our mind. And therefore, there's a process to cleanse the mirror of the heart and mirror of the mind. And this process, Prabhupada writes, a Krishna conscious person, however, is situated from the beginning on the platform of meditation because he always thinks of Krishna. And being always engaged in the service of Krishna, he is considered to have ceased all material activities. It's a very simple thing. That although we are bound up, all these things are there. Yes, there's so much ignorance that is blocking our mind and blocking our heart. There is a very simple process called Krishna consciousness that one can take to, which completely cleanses the heart and the mind of all this ignorance. And the more we use it, the cleaner our mind and heart becomes. And everyone starts by chanting this mantra, and you can please chant it with me. You can say Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Maha Mantra, the chanting of this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, is a most powerful method of cleansing the heart and cleansing the mind of things which we would actually think are completely impossible for us to do. Person may say, "Wow, philosophy is great, all this is amazing, but I don't think I can do it." But then, when we perform the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, then at that point of time, we get the strength to actually let go of all the things we know we have to let go of. Why? Because these holy names of Krishna are non different from Krishna himself. The holy names of Krishna and Krishna himself. When a person chants the holy name of Krishna, the holy name of Krishna is more merciful than Krishna himself. Therefore, when a person chants the holy names of Krishna, Krishna personally comes and takes care of this living entity. He makes sure that everything which is bogging the living entity down from becoming a perfect person in this life, Krishna makes all arrangements Krishna makes. And when the minute a person starts to chant Hare Krishna, so we chant Hare Krishna, what does this mean? Oh Krishna, oh energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service. That is what this mantra means. So when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and we engage ourselves in the service of Krishna, then at that point of time, all material activities will cease. That when a person is performing Krishna conscious activities, their material life has completely come to an end. Why? Because now they are transcendentalizing their existence. Spiritualize your existence right now. You could do it. I could do it. Anyone can do it. We can spiritualize our existence right now. We don't have to wait until death. We don't have to go to a mountain and meditate. We don't have to go underwater and hold our breath for like 5,000 years. We don't have to surround ourselves by hot fires in the middle of the summer and drown and like just lay and lay in ice cold water neck deep in the winter season. No, we don't have to do any of this. The whole process of Krishna consciousness is right here. And anything which is blocking us from chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, from reading these beautiful books, these transcendental books, from coming in, associating with the devotees and taking this prasadam, know that to be an anartha, know that to be something which is unwanted. A person can become a perfect yogi in this life. There is no need to wait. There is no need to stop. There is no need to wait until you get your next paycheck. There is no need to wait until you get the next job. There's no need to wait until you get the next car. There's no need to wait until you get the next girl. You can do it right now. You don't need to wait for anything else. Take charge of your life right now. Everyone can do it. No one is stopping you. The only person stopping you is your mind. As of now, our mind is our own worst enemy. Therefore, an intelligent person will do everything possible to regulate the mind, to control the mind. They will do everything possible to do this. When a person does this, then at that point of time, then they will actually be happy. Otherwise, it's one illusion after another illusion, one empty promise after another empty promise, one one post-dated check after another post-dated checks. How many of us keep receiving post-dated checks every day? Every day. Soon you will be happy. Soon. It's right around the corner. And you know what is always right around the corner? It's always right around the corner. And no one ever gets it. So post-dated check. You know, let's just say someone is 25 years old. Okay, great. I'm giving you a check for $1 billion. Cash it after 100 years. What are the chances you'll cash that check? What if I told you a post-dated check, $2 billion, 200 years? You know, cash this post-dated check after cash this check after 200 years, you'll get $2 billion. How many people can cash that check? No one. Same thing. We're always receiving post-dated checks. Now you'll be happy. You'll be happy just about right. It's right there. But no one has ever been happy by trying to satisfy their senses. No one has ever been happy by trying to satisfy their ego. No one. Therefore, an intelligent person takes this process of Krishna consciousness. And the same thing, you may have a house, you may be cleaning the house, that's good. But if you, instead of thinking it's your house, you think of it as Krishna's house, where you're performing all Krishna conscious activities, then that performance of that becomes transcendental. Oh, we're all cleaning dishes, but one day you come and clean the dishes of the temple. That activity is completely spiritual. And there's no age bar. Like, there's this little Mataji. What's her name? What's her name? Kamala? Yeah, this small little girl. Every Sunday she cleans the dishes, right? Every Sunday she helps to clean it. She's too small to clean it. She carries the dish and she tries to clean it somehow. I don't know how she does it, but because men don't enter when women are in there. So she does it. No matter. She's young, so young. She does it. Her grandmother, she also does it. No matter how old a person is, everyone can do it. There's no bar to serving Krishna. Krishna does not say, oh, this or that. We were listening to a lecture, and then the example is given. The person was saying that just like sometimes there's a basketball team and they work really hard and they win the championship. And then there's some guys on the team who basically are bench warmers. They're just there as like backups. But when the team wins a championship, even the bench warmer wins a ring. Why? Because he was part of the team. Right? He was part of the team. He was just part of the team. Therefore, he won the ring. So same thing, that, we just have to come and just show up. If even if we just showed up, just by showing up, like, okay, there's a spiritual festival going on. It is in the Krishna Life Temple. If you just show up, every time you just show up, just by showing up, a person makes so much advancement. Just by showing up. If you just showed up, hey, I just showed up, man. Like, if you gave someone an appointment and they actually came, that means they're serious. That means they're serious. You show up on time, that means, okay, this guy's really serious. You showed up early, wow, this guy means business. Right? Anywhere. If we just show up, we'll make so much advancement just by showing up. And what to speak of just showing up? If we start to take the process of Krishna consciousness more and more and more and more, little by little by little by little, before we know, our entire life changes. Our entire life changes. It all starts with making a commitment to oneself that this life I'm not going to waste. We wasted so many lives. You want to be the richest person, you've been the richest person. You want to be the serial killer, you've been the serial killer. All these things, you've been a tree, you've been a plant, you've been a beast, you've been a demigod, you've been a demon. All these things are there. But this opportunity to Krishna consciousness is very, very rare. Very rare. Prabhupada is saying in one place, Parameshwar Prabhu was quoting this, that we've been in this material world for at least 20 million lives. 20 million lives we've wasted. Why waste another one? And sometimes, I remember in New York, I was trying to convince this guy. His girlfriend's name was Maya. I think his name was Keith. White guy, you remember? White guy, he came and stayed with us from Boston. He stayed with us in Keith, that was his name? I remember his girlfriend's name called Maya. Like, come on, it's a sign from the Lord. Please give her up. What was Keith, right? Keith, wow, it's amazing. Keith, I told Keith, please, bro, like, your girlfriend's name is Maya and she's clearly Maya. So, like, please, like, what you could do. See, you had the rest of eternity to enjoy Maya. See, the thing is, okay, if you gave this one life to Krishna, right? If you gave this one life to Krishna and it didn't work out for you, you still have the rest of eternity to enjoy in Maya. you know. So you might as well just try to give Krishna consciousness a fair shot, you know. It didn't work, but it's still, the point still stands, that just try it out. With so many lives have been trying all these different things, engaging in illusory activities, but this life we can actually change. This life we can actually perfect, no problem. We can perfect this life right here, right now. And you don't have to give your entire life, Although you're shaved up, you don't have to join the Brahman, you don't have to join the monk program, You don't have to join it. You can just, even if you just showed up, even if you have the monk hairstyle, right? We have the monk hairstyle. You still don't have to become a monk. You can just come and just show up and practice Krishna consciousness. And the more serious you want to go, the more seriously the monks will help you advance in your Krishna consciousness. But everyone should make a commitment. Everyone should make a vow to themselves that yes, okay, we have to perfect our life no matter what. What are the main things holding us back? Okay, let's do it. Okay, these are the holding us back. Let's do it. Let's advance more and more and more and more. And the more we advance, the more advancement we'll make. The more the happier we'll be. Sorry, the more we advance. Okay, the more we advance, the happier we will be. The more the selfless we will be. Why? Because we are serving Krishna. Just even if a person, one day or a few hours, if they dedicate to selflessly serving Krishna, that experience they will never forget. Sunil and his wife, they were telling me that day they went out and they distributed books. They spent like how many hours? Anyone, like maybe like 6 hours or something. Just like trying to, whoever they met, they try to give them these books, and they're brand new people, and they're saying, I've never experienced this amount of happiness. Because like it's their first time going out, and they sold like a big set of these books for the temple. And they were so happy. They were so happy selling Bhagavad. The first time you go out on books, you sell Bhagavatam, says that's ecstatic. But I never experienced this, but of course you didn't. Because this is the first time we're doing completely selfless service for Krishna. So it's a great thing. Everyone can try it. There's nothing holding us back. Everything is here. The most wonderful opportunity for human form of life is given to us. And then even more is the opportunity to associate with those who are serious about going back home, back to Godhead in this life. Everything is here. So our humble request is, please take to this process of Krishna consciousness seriously. We really appreciate all of you taking your time off on a nice, warm Sunday in Atlanta, where there's so many parks and so many things to do. All of you decided to come here. We are very grateful that all of you came. We are very honored by your presence, and we want you to come back more and more and become perfect in this life. Make this life your last life, and you'll be perfect. You'll be happy. And when you're so happy, you will spread this contamination to everyone else. This contamination of no material life and only spiritual life. And you can spiritualize your existence. It's possible. It's possible for everyone. Even when you're bathing, it can become a completely spiritual thing. When you're brushing your teeth, when you're sitting on the toilet, when you're wearing your clothes, when you're doing all these things, it can be a completely spiritual thing. How can it be a completely spiritual thing? While you're doing whatever you're doing, we'll send you a whole playlist of lectures. You can play them. And while you're bathing, while you're doing all these things, just listen. Listen to this transcendental sound vibration, and that'll fix the mind. That'll fix the mind. Then the mind will be, because the mind is open to the possibility, your eyes will be open to the opportunity to make full-on Krishna conscious advancement. It's a very simple thing. And more than anything, you please come and eat as much of this Krishna prasadam as possible. By doing so, one makes so much advancement. So anyway, I'll end the class over here. If there's any questions or comments or something like that, we can take them. Anyone have any questions? You can raise your hand. Everyone understood everything? Okay, Nally.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we understand the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is the most important thing we can do in this age, and association is also very valuable. Can you say one or the other is more important, the association of devotees or the chanting?
See, the thing is, the minute you associate, and this Ramanujacharya said, this then, even if you're a completely useless person and you cannot do anything useful at all to the society, which is not so many people and definitely not anyone in this room, even if you're such a completely uselessly terrible person, if you just simply went and just sat with all the devotees, you will somehow or the other make advancement. So association is the most important thing. Why? Because in the association of devotees, what do? Do you guys like come? I mean, see, I know we have a TV here, but I promise you, we've never watched Netflix or anything on this. We just use this TV for this, right? We just and then this TV was donated to us by you, Nelly. Yes, you know, this, we use this TV to like to show this, and like we have some documentaries about Prabhupada. We see that sometimes, and we do all these things. And when we what do we eat? We don't go to like Domino's and buy pizza and eat that. We eat Krishna Prasadam. We don't read some mundane literature. We read Prabhupada's books. We read transcendent literature. So when we're around devotees, naturally we perform devotional activities. So therefore, association with devotees is the most important. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastri Koi, Lava Mate Sadhu Sangi, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Then all the scriptures, everything, they always glorify the Sadhu Sangha because even by a moment's association with the pure devotee, all perfection can be achieved. Is that okay? Awesome. Anything else? Yes, sir. Representing the Hartfield Jackson Atlanta Airport. That's right.
Actually, I like what you said about this little child right here.
Uh-huh.
Um, what that lets me know is that I have to keep it on me.
Yeah,
Um,
totally. Yeah.
what that shows me is that's humility, saying that to be like a child and to have your mind open for a new way of living.
Yeah, you see, the thing is that just like she can perform service, everyone can perform service, no matter who we are. And ultimately, if we are suffering, then this is a test of every person who is practicing Krishna consciousness or someone who is spiritual. That anyone who's practicing Krishna consciousness or trying to be spiritual, they have to always come to this conclusion and come to terms with the reality that they are the cause of all their suffering. We always love to play the blame game. This person's the cause, that person's the cause. But no, ultimately, we are the cause of our own suffering. So the more we take charge of our situation, the happier we will be. You see?
Correct.
And the easiest way to do that is just by coming in the association of devotees. Literally, man, all you have to do is show up. You show up, I'll tell you, I challenge anyone. You show up every day for the next 4 weeks or whenever. You show up every day, not every day, or like show up every Sunday at least at the same time. You show up. You see how much advancement you'll make just by showing up, just by hearing, just by taking prasadam, just by being with the devotees. You'll make so much advancement just by showing up. So, bottom line, it just boils down to taking charge of your life and arranging everything around showing up. If you have an important business appointment, no matter you may have all these other things going on, but everything else revolves around you showing up at that appointment on time. Whether it means you sleep less, whether it means you sleep more, whether it means you hang out with this person, whether it means you don't hang out with that person, whatever you do, you show up. So it all boils down to simply showing up. You know?
Correct.
Yes, awesome. Anything else? Yes, Iman Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So you were speaking on, of course, during the last part of the lecture about taking up to the process of Krishna consciousness. So personally speaking for me, what can you say to someone that, of course, like I'm working, so, and of course, I'm working like a hog just to provide
I
for
would not say
myself,
so.
just to provide for myself. And when I chant, I think about the offenses to chanting the holy name a lot. Like, of course, Namo Bala Yasa Hi
Papa
Papa
Buddha,
Buddha,
yes.
Navyajate Tasmai
Yamai
Yeshuddhi,
Hishuddhi.
about making offenses to chanting. So if I get my rounds in, but of course, I just know I have to go to work in the next second, and it's completely full of karmis, completely. And my mind is, of course, influenced by all of that. Yeah. So how can how can I channel my mindset to not be so prone to make it? Because I feel like when I'm out doing this, it's still making offense because I'm obviously not doing it to please Krishna. I'm doing it for myself, to provide for myself, to of course still provide for myself. So what can you say to that?
So, so you're working. I'm sorry. So you're working and you're afraid you're committing offenses when you chant the holy name, and so I don't understand the whole question.
I'm more so asking is if I'm influenced by all these things at my job, And I feel like because I'm not, basically, like I'm not distributing books to provide for myself, I'm doing this karmi work. And I feel like that's, making an offense. So,
So anyway, the thing is that it's not like by not engaging in directly Krishna conscious activity. That's why the fifth chapter, action in Krishna consciousness, you can study that. And, and it's a simple thing. Also, yes, we are. You may not be in the most desirable situation. You may not be in the most desirable association. You may not be in the most desirable people to hang out with. It may be like that, but at least that's why you make it. You show up, right? You show up at different time for the morning program, show up for the Sunday program. You make this the most important thing. That other things which are happening are just for your material life, so just keep it together. But when you're chanting your rounds, just you chant for Krishna's pleasure rather than your own pleasure, and that really will transform, really transform. And one thing which really changed my life is, well, like when I read the Krishna book. In the Krishna book, there's this letter that Rukmini writes to Krishna, where she, basically expresses how completely helpless she is, and she's really praying for Krishna to come be her hero and just save her from this horrible person Shishupal and get married. And like she really pours her heart out, and like she really begs Krishna to come, and Krishna comes through the last minute, but Krishna like the Krishna comes in clutch, right? Krishna came in clutch. He came in and he got it in the last minute. So ever since I read that, I've been trying to. I think of myself like that also. I'm in the middle of this horrible material world, and my mind and my senses, and so many things which can go wrong. So many things which can go wrong. But Krishna, just like how he came and saved Rukmini, he can come and save us also. And like from our mind, our mind is our worst enemy. Our mind causes us so much torture. I can only imagine, But the mind causes us so much torture. But Krishna can come and just completely take us out of that situation. One thing which will definitely help is if you read Krishna book for 15 minutes every night before you go to sleep. Very good. If you read it every day, even after you read any Krishna book, you could read Nectar of Devotion, back and forth, at least, before you go take rest. And really helps, thinking of Krishna. And bottom line, understanding, Krishna is there. Krishna is in charge. He can completely come and just change the situation. I remember actually, small anecdote. Do I have time? I can speak a little bit, right? A little bit more. So I remember I had like this really ecstatic experience. I used to go to school, and I was in NYU, and I was studying computer science, and I completely hated it. I was doing it for my mom. And then what I would do is the whole the professor would be teaching whatever she would be teaching, and I would be reading the Bhagavatam on my laptop. And I remember in a matter of 2 months, I finished the entire third and fourth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And when I finished the fourth canto of the Bhagavatam, it was also the third canto of the Bhagavatam. I had like this most ecstatic feeling. It was so amazing. I could not even put my finger on it. It was so ecstatic. So ultimately, when Krishna comes through, he really comes through. There's nothing to, like Krishna got you. Krishna got you back. The more you have faith in that point that Krishna got you back, the happier you'll be. Is that okay? Wow. Anything? Yes, Mahabhoga Mataji. Wow, you all made it. I'm glad you all made it. That's amazing. We met them at the festival yesterday. Hare Krishna. Yes. Mike, please.
What is this lust that burns and burns in our hearts?
Huh?
What is this lust that burns and burns in our heart?
What is this lust? The desire to enjoy separately from Krishna is lust. That's all. Simple. There's a desire to satisfy our own senses is called lust. Desire to satisfy the senses of Krishna is called love. So that is lust. Anything else? Shh. Anything else? Okay. All right. Awesome. So thank you all for your kind attention. So does everyone have these set of beads? Nally, can you give the people that just walked in? Okay, everyone got beads? Okay. Oh, yeah, Nally, you didn't give Mataji on the behind there. Jai, okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be chanting on these beads. We're going to be chanting this entire Hare Krishna Mahamantra on the beads. And the way you hold the beads is you have one bead with a white strand on it, and you keep your you hold the bead right after that in such a way that you can move on to the next bead while you're going further away from the bead with white strands on it. So you put the beads on your middle finger and you hold it with your thumb, and we chant the entire mantra. And when we're done chanting the entire mantra, we move on to the next bead. And we'll just do this. She's going to chant 10 on 10 beads, and then we can move on to the next part of the program. Okay, so everyone understood that? Was that simple? Yes? Okay. So we'll start at the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Last one. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all very much for chanting. So I just have a few more announcements. A few announcements. So the first announcement is, anyone want to guess what the first announcement is? When is next time? That's right. Wow, Sunil. Sunil gets an extra plate of halwa today. So Vihan, you're making too much of a commotion here. So we have a program. This Thursday, we have a very amazing program called Narsimha Chaturdashi. It's the appearance of Narsimha Dev, a half man, half lion incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And there's a poster up there in the back. You could take a picture of it and all this. But the program is on Thursday at 5:30 p.m. So it's going to be followed by the best feast you've ever eaten in your life. So if you like the food that we're serving out today, on Thursday it's going to be even better. And we're going to bring out our deity of Nrsimhadev. So it's going to be really, really amazing. It's going to be something you've never seen in your life before. And I'm not even joking. So please come this Sunday, this Thursday at 5:30 p.m. It's a very ecstatic festival. It happens only once a year. If you have a job, you can tell that you felt sick that day. You can plan to fall sick on Thursday. Okay? Mataji, you heard that? Imo, you heard that? Plan to fall sick on Thursday evening. Okay? Everyone can fall sick on Thursday evening in their job and come and be completely healthy today over here. So we have this awesome festival. Please come. And we have, of course, next Sunday also, we have a program, same time, same place. And we'd like to thank the sponsor of today's feast, Bhakti Trace. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.